Harry Oppenheimer. They're very powerful Jews. They controlled De Beers and Anglo-America. You know, so that goes to show. And that, for at least over 80, 90 years.
Oh, I was thinking of it.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super strange.
What's this for, brother? Is this going on?
Just audio.
Just audio. Is it getting uploaded online?
You don't want it to be.
No, it can be. I just want to know if it is. Where can I find it?
Hopefully, content over everything.
Oh, this is content over everything. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know.
It's just the audio, though.
All right, yeah.
It was something different today.
Okay,
Go
right.
for it, man. Go
We're
for
not even having an argument about anything. We're just talking
Just about in general, about
conspiracies.
everything. Yeah. What conspiracy? Yeah. When is a conspiracy
Trying to
theory
balance
Zionist
conspiracies
a real
with
conspiracy?
anti-Semitism. You know,
You know,
trying to
this
find
is.
a middle
But
ground.
when do you think a conspiracy theory is a real conspiracy theory? Is it real? Sorry, it's
Well,
real.
I think the term conspiracy theory, it instantly leads you to believe that you've got no right to believe in it. But it's not. I don't think believing in conspiracies there's nothing wrong with that. It's completely rational to believe. That, you know,
It's not a conspiracy. People have certain influence, right? Like,
Sure, but my point is people do conspire, okay, which is a conspiracy, and it's not wrong to theorize that people are conspiring. So it's not wrong to think that there is a conspiracy theory because there are obviously conspiracies, and so there's obviously theories about those conspiracies.
I personally believe that they can't be criticized.
Yeah, oh,
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're like that. It's like you can't even compliment them.
Yeah, which we have in the UK, by the way. We have hate speech legislation right now, which means that it completely
What I'm
rules
saying
out
is
our freedom of
that
speech.
you're not supposed to you just like how you see people openly criticize the Chinese. Yeah. You openly criticize Trump is a racist.
Well, fuck it, I think you can do it.
You understand?
Now, right?
But the thing is that you can't say it about Netanyahu or you see what I'm saying? It's totally. You see what I'm saying? You can criticize Trump and have protests about him.
Yeah.
But
it's-
you can't.
But would you say the same thing in reverse? Would you say, what about all the people who go in the streets and they say, you know, they're pro-Trump, and even when you go onto alt-right levels and they start saying "Hail Trump" and doing Nazi salutes,
but
which
what-
I also don't agree with, but do they have the right to do that?
No, I'm not saying that they have the right. What I'm saying is that why is it one set of people you can criticize one people, but you can't criticize the next?
It shouldn't be.
That is what my problem.
Wait, who's the separate group?
But you see, it's about the media. It's the control of the
question
media.
nothing with
But the
Israel.
thing is, why do we
You
care?
can't.
You can't say what's
You can't question nothing with Israel.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You
Yeah.
can't.
You know,
You
going back
can't.
to the fact that, you know, about conspiracy
You
theory
can't.
being
And you just can't.
a real
Also, you know?
conspiracy.
Everybody have to be
You look at, like, for example, Muslims
Yeah, it can't be one side.
were accused of carrying out the anthrax biological terror attacks. And for a number of years it was believed Muslims carried it out. It was only when the DNA of the anthrax was proven to have come from Fort Detrick military base in Virginia, Maryland, that it was proven that Muslims were not responsible.
I tell you the truth, yeah, you know this whole American British kind of system, yeah, the whole establishment, yeah. I don't even trust them. Like
I don't trust
I
them
don't
either.
trust them.
You're very wise
You've
to trust the
you've got a
I know
right not
that-
to trust them.
I know that,
Their history is
But
disgusting.
I tell you the truth, yeah, some white people, yeah, would consider me, yeah, because of my. You remember when I was with Ralph, yeah, and the guy was like, "Oh, you're a traitor to Britain, yeah," like because I'm brown, and I don't trust like.
Or just because you're brown.
And
Oh, I know.
don't
So go back to that. You don't trust
completely
British what? You don't trust
like
British what?
British American like world kind of
Worldview?
politics and like
There's,
wars.
there's
and
been
things like
plenty
that.
of civil war in
You know
this
what I'm saying,
country.
yeah?
Many people
Yeah,
have been
exactly.
against the British establishment. Doesn't mean they're a traitor to their country.
Exactly.
If anything, they're
Some people,
against
yeah, they stand
what
for
is
the time
happening.
people are traitor.
Yeah, they're standing
If
for
I
a
make you
truth.
traitor,
Yeah.
If I say that I don't respect America and the war against Iran or like the American like system, the culture, whatever, yeah, then it's like you're a traitor. Like if I say I like Russia, yeah, let's say I said I like something about Russia, I like some culture about Russia, yeah, or some business, the whatever, yeah. But they will say, oh, you're a traitor. You know what I mean? Like you're a
Yeah,
traitor.
but that's wrong because you know you if you don't agree with the people that are running this country, you have a right to be against them.
Yeah.
You have a right.
A lot
You
of
know what I
times
mean?
corrupted people making corrupted rules as well.
Exactly.
Think
And
about it.
Exactly.
They use some
And if you-
nationalism, yeah, on their side, yeah, to suppress the rest of us.
Can I disagree with you? Can I tell you why that's wrong? Because I think the mainstream media are completely against nationalism, and they bully anyone with a nationalist voice
No,
every
no,
single
that's
time.
fine,
The
that's fine.
BBC, the
Listen,
Guardian, the
that's
Independent,
fine.
they're all
That's
evil.
fine,
Yeah.
but when
Yeah.
America and Britain tell
Yeah.
the media that you
Yeah.
got to talk down Russia and you got to talk down Iran, the media will tell us lies. Yeah,
Yes,
I've seen it many
yes,
times.
yeah,
in
I
British
agree with you,
media.
mate.
If you open any any British
Propaganda.
establishment, when
Yes.
when the intelligence service tells them this
Sure.
is what you gotta say,
Sure.
that's what they say.
Yeah.
I don't
And
disagree
all
with
the
you.
media
No,
stick
no,
to the
it's
same
not-
guns.
hold
They
on.
say the
Okay,
same
sorry.
thing.
It's so obvious, yeah, that when
Exactly.
I read the media and when I listen to the government, that I know they're lying to me.
Yeah, so do
and
I,
you
so
tell
do I,
me,
so do I,
yeah,
so do I.
that when I know the government's lying to me, yeah, how am I going to trust them?
You know what, there's
How am I
a-
going to trust
there's
them?
a
You're
thing
right not
even-
to trust them, but my point is also, you read, the BBC, which is the state corporation of Britain, okay, and they are so obviously anti-British and anti-American. they're pro-elite.
no,
no,
they are.
no,
They
Wait,
are.
you know,
They're
they support
against
all these
normal
wars,
British
they don't
people.
they?
It's all right. My point, okay, is they may well be talking about the interests of the British and American elite, but that doesn't mean they're pro-British and pro-American. They're against ordinary British and American people. It's like when they talk out now, I'm not going to get into a big debate about Tommy, but Tommy Robinson is a very good example of this, okay? The media hate him. They chat so much lies about him. Even papers which are meant to be traditionally right-wing tabloids like The Sun, The Daily Mail, which was founded by people who are friendly with Nazis, by the way, and they chat shit about him, and they tell so much lies, and then you get people saying, oh, the media's supporting nationalism and such like that. It's like, no, they try and silence him.
Because they're anti-Tommy Robinson, it means they're anti the British people.
No. That's
say
one
Tommy
example of many.
Robinson,
That's one example of many. I like so. For example, if I say, say I express a particular view, like I don't think the British Empire was 100% a bad thing. If I said that, the BBC will instantly, without hesitation, suddenly I'm a racist and I'm an imperialist and I'm a colonial scumbag.
Evidence of that.
Have I got evidence of that? Go on, just search on The Guardian or on the BBC, anything to do with,
but that's
British
different
Empire and
from
stuff.
talking
It's like,
about-
no, that's not different from what we're talking
I
about.
can't
No,
tell
no,
why they
if
say
you
that.
acknowledge,
Foreign
if you
policy
acknowledge
and
that the
then-
BBC is mainstream media and The Guardian is mainstream media, then you agree with me.
It's not working out.
Yeah.
When you
I
talk,
can't pull up an article right now.
when you talk about Tony Robinson,
About Tommy Robinson.
Tommy Robinson, yeah? Tommy Robinson, yeah. Tommy Robinson.
Tony Robinson.
You have to look how the BBC works.
Yes.
The BBC work a way that it even trick you. You will have a Tommy Robinson and you have a Boris Johnson. The same view, but
Boris hates him.
listen, they trick you. Listen,
trick you
the
to
two of them are
There's a lot of
extreme.
truth.
Yeah, but one is from a working class background.
we don't care about Tommy Robinson. It's not important.
No, he's not important.
It's not important.
I'll just use him as an
We're talking
example.
about global stuff.
Yes, of course.
You're talking about some guy who obviously it's not a big deal, is it?
Sure.
We're talking about I'm talking about the media lying to us about global politics.
Yeah, but if you're talking globally, the BBC is a...
So to come out, the mainstream media you say are against it.
Boris Johnson's a
I think it's a trick.
aristocrat.
I actually think they actually support him, but they got to pretend to be against him.
Yeah.
That's what I truly believe.
You understand? They will justify Boris
Well,
Johnson's type of
the only,
behavior.
the only thing is I can say is that the American people were so sick and tired of the mainstream media. They used to believe them. Now they don't trust them at all.
Yeah.
So now
That's right.
Trump has to make out that he's anti-mainstream media.
Right.
Now, it's a trick. It's a trick. It's a deception.
Let me tell you...
Still run by the same Jews, isn't it?
Well, there you go. There you go.
I don't think you can
It's
say...
Tweedledum or Tweedledee.
Many of them
You know
are
what I
not
mean?
Jews.
All I'm saying
Gentiles.
is, I know that I'm an enemy of the British establishment. I know that.
I'm an enemy of the
Likewise,
British
I know
establishment,
that.
yeah,
They know
sure.
I'm against the British
Everyone's
establishment
against the
as well.
establishment.
Like you
Yes,
are.
just the
Well, I
establishment
know,
is
but I
just
am.
the
I've even said that to the police.
Would you agree? It's like we could both well agree that the establishment
Yeah,
is
what time
bad,
again?
but
They're
you might think that the
bastards.
establishment
I'm
is just the Jews,
My
whereas I
problem-
might say it's the government, whereas
My
someone else
problem
might
is-
say
my
it's the
problem
courts
with
or the
them is
media, or a black nationalist might say it's all whites or the whites in power. Or
Everybody explain what they mean when they say the establishment. Who they
Yeah, all of them, the big oil companies, the military in America.
It depends.
The
Are you talking
the
nationally
rich
or
ones in
globally?
America, the Zionists in America.
Western corporate
It's all the
capitalists.
American, and
parliamentarians,
Anglo,
conservatives,
the Anglo-American
and Liberal Democrats.
establishment.
Yeah, right.
And
Australia,
New Labour.
these countries all together, yeah.
You see, if
They're all together. They
Britain-
elites are all together, and they go
Britain
around the
keep
world
itself to
and do
itself,
what they want. Yeah, but they
I
know
have no
that in
problem
their
with them at
countries,
all.
yeah, people like us, yeah, what happens?
But
People
if
like
you
me,
go on
It never has
we
though for the
criticise
last
them. We get
300
like
years.
Yeah, that
the
is
English
it.
guys against us. You know what I'm
like
saying?
people really
Like not
business
you,
what
but
they
like.
do.
I understand that. I mean, I would regard myself as being sympathetic
The
with Tommy. I
educated
don't
ones
agree with
won't
everything he says,
criticise.
but-
You see, the ignorant ones, the educated ones aren't going to
Exactly.
criticise.
Can I tell you what
But
I
you
mean
see,
when I say
this
British
fallacy about
establishment?
Trump.
Sorry, when I say British establishment, I mean, for one, the government, not everyone, but most of the
Boris
Commons,
Johnson's
okay,
and
right.
Cameron's
I mean, the political class, okay, so that doesn't matter if you're
class,
Labour or Tory, they're the same party in my mind. One's just a bit more left-wing than the other. Okay, it's the media
But not
as well,
the
the media
socialists,
class.
not the real socialists.
The socialists?
Yeah.
The socialists are more left-wing than anyone.
But I'm saying part of the real establishment. I don't think they're part of the establishment.
But the thing
I
is
think they're
that-
trying to
absolutely.
I
But the
think
thing is
people are
that-
trying to represent poor people.
they weren't
I don't think
under
are
privilege, and now they
part
are.
of the
You
establishment.
know what? I don't
Or
vote.
working class people.
You don't vote?
No. And listen, when everyone is talking about Labour, Conservative, Lib Dem, Green Party, let me tell you, the people who have the say is a capitalist businessman who behind the scene who sponsor these politicians. They
true.
have the final
corporate
say.
capitalism. The corporate
They are
capitalism.
the final say.
Corporate capitalism.
Who's the socialist?
They are the final say. So
Soros is
remember,
Soros
show me one legislation or one politician do for the common man
There you
in,
go.
in any
Exactly.
country.
I mean, you look at Trump's campaign yesterday.
None.
Information came
I
out
don't vote.
that
I only go on the vote
$273 million
because it's the law.
was given to Donald Trump.
Because it's a lie, do
Was
it.
given to Donald Trump's campaign, presidential
Yeah.
campaign 2020.
Not about us.
Guess who was giving the money? The three most biggest donors of Donald Trump's presidential campaign were Jews. Sheldon Adelson, two others. Have you got it? Or have you got your smartphone? 200.
Oh, you're against Soros?
But they're,
Do you think George
they
Soros is
support the
evil?
war with Iran.
Okay,
All
good,
these
good,
three
well done.
can get it out
But you
there.
realise that George Soros is the one
get
who
their
is
smartphone.
funding these socialist groups.
Just
He's
put,
the founder of the Open
These
Open
guys,
Society.
No, these guys, they're on the socialist side,
Just
Yeah.
they're
put,
on the capitalist side.
273
They're on both sides.
He's not a
$million.
capitalist.
No, no,
He
no.
hates
I think it's
capitalism.
270.
These guys,
Who's these guys? Sorry.
Soros,
Soros,
and,
okay,
and
all right.
these like elite Jews, they're on both sides.
They're not just Jews, by the way. They're elite Gentiles
I know,
too.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
yeah.
they're on both sides.
Yeah.
Soros, yeah. He's got his own pet project, with
Yes.
socialism.
Yeah. That's fine.
But he's not unfriendly with the Zionists. You get me? And the capitalists.
He's not unfriendly.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's not
right.
unfriendly with the Zionists. He's part of that same
Some
thing,
patient
but
intrigue.
he gets his satisfaction from
casino
socialism.
magnate.
You understand? But
Sure.
he don't care about the system. He's part of the same group of people who are on the other side.
So what's his goal, in your opinion? What is the goal of George Soros and the Open Society? So, in my point of view, it would be to abolish borders and make a sort of integrationist European project, a bit like what Gaddafi wanted for North Africa, but in the European version.
You shouldn't worry about these things. This guy,
Ah, but I do. I think you should worry about them, actually.
this guy Soros, he's just here to make his money, to have his fun,
Yeah.
and to influence society
Yeah.
with his own pleasure.
Exactly.
With pleasure. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
he's
yeah.
doing.
He
His
didn't-
own
he
pleasure.
doesn't. Yeah, yeah.
Like, exactly. He's just like, these people like Soros, they're degenerates. You got Murdoch, Hugh Hefner, these kinds of Jewish people.
Sheldon
they-
Adelson.
Ah, but it's not
Sheldon
because of their
Adelson.
Jewishness. That
I know
they're-
it's not just because of that. Okay.
a lot of them are Jews, yes. A
them
lot
are
of the
Jews.
powerful
they do have
people are
a similar
Jewish.
mentality, and
Okay.
and they don't care about the culture. What they will do is they will make you follow one culture, and they'll follow a different culture themselves. So they will sell you something.
I
yeah?
follow Western
They sell
culture.
you an image, but they don't live that life themselves. They
Yeah,
don't have
sure.
a country. So these people, right?
They're anti-Western.
Yeah, they're degenerate, like Soros.
Yeah, but he's specifically against the West. He's not just degenerate in the sense that he's against the world. Is that he's okay?
What you can do is see when you finish your study, become a politician, all you have to do is that you don't mess in other people's affairs.
I agree that we
And
should
leave
cut
that.
all intervention. I
If
think
a person step on your
pull out the Middle East, pull out of
If a
Africa,
person
pull out of
attack you, then you blow them to Shumelari.
I completely agree. Non-aggression principle.
Yeah,
Don't provoke anyone unless provoked. In which case you've got the right to defend yourself.
Who gave Donald Trump $100 million? $100 million. Yes, Sheldon Adelson. Sheldon
see,
Adelson.
that's the people that do
2016, he gave him $100 million.
Who's the return for that?
Well, he's got to support
lobbying
Israel.
policies.
He's got to
Lobbying
support
power
war
and
against
politics.
Iran.
That's right.
This is what you're up against. This is Sheldon Adelson is a casino magnate in America. He owns many casinos, gambling, or makes a lot of money from people gambling their lives away,
So where is it?
and then he gives them big
So
money
where
for.
is it religious belief in all of that? I mean, this gambling machine.
Exactly. They bring in the laws. But he's also wants him to be pro-Israel and war with Iran. He's gone on record saying he wants war against Iran.
Okay.
This is a major donor.
But can I ask you something? Like, he has to take money from someone.
Yeah,
Does he not?
$100 million, of course. Yeah.
He's
What he's going to do
has
is
to take
billionaire.
funds from somewhere.
Well, whoever gives you the money.
Come with our strings attached, is what you're saying.
Of
Why
course,
does he need
exactly
money?
that.
In order to run
Exactly
as a
that.
presidential candidate.
He's got
because
to,
he
he's
needs
got to do what
funds.
they say.
But he claim
They got-
he claim he's a billionaire and got a whole heap of money.
Yeah, but he's not going to spend it.
There's no way
he
can
doesn't
be
have
poor.
to spend that on his own campaign.
No, he should.
Well, he can. Well, I'm sure maybe he does a bit,
true.
but
It's
he's
true, he
entitled.
should do.
No, but he's entitled to ask for
It's
funds.
true, you should do.
When he loses, then he know that he loses.
Because it isn't a government for the people, it's a government for
he's got to
sponsors,
ask
for
for
rich
money from
sponsors.
someone, though, is
That's
what I'm saying.
what a big scam it is.
But it's like
It's a big
But,
scam.
but you know, every single one of them they're getting donors from somewhere or other. It's just people just single out Trump because but he's taking money from so and so.
Well,
It's like
that I just showed you that he gave $100 million.
Yeah.
That was in 2016.
Yeah,
He's
sure.
given another $100 million for the next campaign, which is coming up 2020.
The same
Well,
guy
he
again.
Same
He
guy,
obviously-
Sheldon Adelson, and there's two others. I
But
forget.
he's not the only one.
exactly.
no,
That's
no,
what
I'm saying
you can't
he's
say,
not,
oh,
he's
but,
not.
oh look, he's taking money just like every
the
other
three
single one of
biggest
them.
sponsors are all Jewish, all three of them, and all three of them want war with Iran. I read that earlier today. If I had my smartphone, I'd show you. It came. And funny enough, I can't. I put that amount in. I think that amount must be wrong because it would have come up. But I'm gonna have to. Mate, it really annoys me not bringing my smartphone. I don't like bringing them
Oh,
out.
you didn't bring your phone with
I
you?
don't like bringing the smartphone out for a number of reasons. Nah.
Get next.
Well, no, nothing to do. Well,
listen,
no, I don't
it's
care
easy
about
to
that. I care more about like them knowing where you are and spying on you,
Facebook,
setting
yeah,
up an accident
Google, yeah.
if they want to knock you off your bike or you know what I mean, or follow you, like whatever. You know what I mean? I don't trust these people. Smartphones. Oh, it's my bag. Yeah,
Oh, you can get down here.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know people that get stabbed up.
Oh yeah. No, I'm more worried about being gang stalked. I got gang stalked by them, the authorities. You know when they're out to get you, and you don't know what agency it is. It could be Israeli Mossad, it could be MI6.
Gang stalked.
Yeah, well, when this is going back a number of years ago, about 7 years ago.
How do you verify that?
Yeah, how
Well-
can you tell it's what's that?
Well, I tell you what they did. I tell you what, why? Because for 6 months,
Just about to explain.
I was being watched through the CCTV around my local area, right? And every shop I was going into, I was being accused of shoplifting. Like the alarm would go off just as I'm about to go out the door, and it would be causing a confrontation. It happened numerous times in a it was about a 3-month period.
So where did you get that you was being watched by CCTV?
Yeah, through Hammersmith. You know Hammersmith, Shepherd's Bush.
How do you know that? How did you confirm?
Well, because I just found it so very strange that
So you assume that happened because every time you went to a shop
the alarm was going off and security was. They must have known where I was, and I was carrying my smartphone with me as well. So you know, a smartphone is a great.
So what would you say would be the reason that they?
This is why I don't understand. This is what I was trying to understand why they done it.
To any of us.
No, but I'm saying, I found it very strange. I was trying to find out why. The thing is, in the end, a serious confrontation ended up happening. I ended up having a fight with a security guard over it, and I got arrested, and they tried to section me.
Is he tired of getting stopped every time? And
No,
the shops?
well, yeah, because it gets to you what it is.
He might have acted like you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, no, I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I was online, and I was,
There we go. Here's the meat of
I
the
was
story.
writing messages, and like with regards to Mark Thatcher, the terrorist.
recording?
I was calling Mark Thatcher a terrorist.
own.
I was calling Mark Thatcher a terrorist, and he should be arrested online. They threatened my life. Now, they've started to threaten me online because they didn't like what I was saying. But
You must have had some compelling evidence that suggests that, because just saying that, I'm sure you ain't the only person.
it was no, exactly. But I think it was a number of things. I can't put my finger on exactly what it was. But I know that it was something that I've said, and I was coming here as well.
some controversial
Yeah,
things.
some very controversial things, or something that's the truth that they probably didn't want to let out, that other people didn't know about. And I look into a number of various things. As I say, bear in mind this happened 2011. And it was a real bad experience.
Who else have you told this story to?
Well, other people know. In fact, even you know, innit, Eric? I've known Eric a long time.
What's been your general reaction? Is everyone in over?
Well, all it's done is made me really understand how the establishment work. That when they see someone who's a threat, they'll do something to try and get them out of the game. That's what they do, and they've done that to a lot of people. You know what I mean? They've taken people out. Usually, they use the mental health system as one way of getting people out of the game. They've done it to many people. Because a policeman can section you under the Section 136, they call it. It's a special rule that a policeman can decide if he thinks you should be detained because he, in his view, thinks you're mentally ill, you've got mental health problems.
Surely you can't just the accusation alone isn't enough to be
Well,
sexual.
well, it is. It is. A
You have to
policeman.
be demonstrating all traits.
Well, they can try and say you are. Of course, they're going to try and. This is what you know. Policemen are liars. Yeah. Look.
But that's what, the people who they're trying to sexually to, surely they have to assess you and make their own judgment.
Yeah, they do. Exactly that. They do. Exactly. You have an assessment, and
They'll believe the police, won't they?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
If the police,
just in the same way that they can have reason to believe
week,
that
yeah, nice
you're
one, man.
going to do
Nice
this,
one. Cheers,
then instantly their testimony is kind of considered to be more, going to be given priority to the person that they're saying is a criminal, the person that they're saying is insane or something.
Well, one of the weirdest
things
that happened to me, like just before I ended up losing the plot with one other security guard. I was in Marks and Spencer's in King Street in Hammersmith, and I went in there, and as I come out, and before that, I locked my bike up. And went into Marks and Spencer's. As I come out, just as I was coming out, the alarm went off. Now I didn't have anything, and the security guard goes, "Can I have a look in your bag?" I said, "No, I've done nothing. I've got nothing. It's not me that set that alarm off." And I said, "Look." So I went through myself, making sure he didn't try and and it didn't go off the alarm. So and then he insisted, "No, I want to look in your bag." I said, "Fuck off." He goes, "I'm going to do you." I said, "You know what I mean?" I threatened him. I said to him, "If you touch me, I'm going to have to defend myself." Anyway, as I come out, there was a police car, literally 20 yards outside. I went up to the policeman, right, and I said, "Excuse me, officer, can you, just for the record, I want you to show you to this security guard, I've got nothing in my bag." And guess what? I opened up the bag, nothing in there. The security guard's eyes was like that. You see what I mean? Now, but listen, it gets worse. When I went back to my bike, and guess who was there on my bike? Guess who was right next to my bike? No, police officer on his bicycle. Police officer on his bicycle. You know that? What does that tell you?
The police officer was on your back.
No, police officer was right next to my bicycle on his own bike.
He said, "Were you working? He was waiting for you to come on your bicycle."
Well, I don't know what he was doing. Well, it could be the case. It was just weird.
So what do you say is your worst interaction with government or police?
Well, I tell you what, that time period, I must have had about 10 or 15 serious confrontations with them. Even when I walked,
Give me some of the worst ones.
Well, one was really bad. One was when I came back from Spain, and I was walking through Shepherd's Bush, and 3 of them rushed me from behind. 3 of them. Yeah, 3, plain clothes. They went straight, put me on the floor. I hadn't done anything wrong. One of them stole £50 off me. He actually stole 50 quid off me. No, I'll tell you who it was. It was PC Gary Leaper. PC Gary Leaper.
The one you got misconduct.
Yeah. So I know about PC Gary Leaper. He ended up getting 9 months in prison. I was there at his trial. He stole off people. Someone handed £300 into Fulham police station.
You must have been getting fucked up in a bit.
Well, this is the police are corrupt anyway. But as I say, that was my experience of them in 2011. You know what I mean? I've never experienced such harassment ever since I started coming to Speaker's Corner and started being politically activated. You know what I mean? I've never suffered so much harassment.
Well, they leave you alone now, don't they?
Oh yeah, now they've left me alone. They've left me alone for a long time. But I still don't like bringing out my smartphone because of that. Since those experiences.
So since you stopped bringing out your smartphone, have you noticed a decrease in?
Well, I don't want to give any entity a temptation of knowing exactly where I am.
What's working and
Exactly what my patterns are, because they know exactly how you're moving.
Since you stopped bringing your smarphone, has less strange things been happening?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I say, since I think since they got what they wanted, because when they tried to section me, they ruined my name with my family. They you know what I mean? Once they can like cause commotion in your family and put you down in front. Yeah. To discredit you.
We are heading even worse than that. You know that with the time when we get our chips and our money will be only electronic, they can freeze you for everything like that. There will be a time. They can press the button and you have nothing.
That's when the revolution starts. Talking about RDI chips.
Something like that, yeah.
I respect for this one.
That's when the revolution
starts.
Podcast number 2 is wrapped.
Come take over everything from your humility.
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
The first three Gospels, Matthew, Mark and Luke, clearly are depending on each other. You can see that whole chunks of the Gospel are copied from one Gospel to another in the Greek itself. Not in English, but in Greek. Identical wording, even in very small little details, you get identical wording